Matoya, first up. Boy, have I dumped on Matoya for a long time. She actually gets good, though. Matoya gets a USB in the next Final Fantasy 1 event. Crystal Spell, 10 single attacks. Magic and resistance plus 30% to the user. Okay. Grants Witch Quick Cycle and B Select follow-up to the user. So Witch Quick Cycle means she fast casts witch abilities, and B Select follow-up. So let's take a look at both of those statuses. And this is Tri-Elemental, the 3 primary elements. Which is weird considering we do not have fire witch abilities. Yeah, grants quick cast 1 after using a witch ability. Pretty damn good when you consider the witch abilities are very, very slow. Yeah, it is. That's how you open the world map. So it's a nice little nod. B Select follow-up. Cast push B Select after exploiting elemental weakness. So that is an 8.32 after exploiting elemental weakness. Because she gets that Witch Quick Cycle, I personally believe that's what makes this strong. So she doesn't have to worry about the cast time issue that witch abilities have. So though this may be Tri-Elemental, and everything about all of this is Tri-Elemental, the fact that witch abilities don't exist for fire, for some unknown reason. Oh, the quick cast 1 is for anything? No, I don't think so. We just saw that. Witch Quick Cycle grants quick cast 1 after using a witch ability. So she gets an 8.32 4 attack chase every time she exploits vulnerability. Most is probably going to be using Ice and Lightning because you want to be using witch abilities with her. She is the witch. So she's an Ice and Lightning mage. How good is this? How good is this? I'll take a look at the entry itself. The magic and resistance plus 30% is nice. She doesn't get any boosts beyond that. Let's take a look at her Legend Spheres and Legend Materia, see if we can find some way to feel confident in the amount of damage she's dealing. BLK damage increase, good. Good, that's a good start. Oh, okay. I didn't realize what you were asking, Strider. No, if you use a witch ability, you get grant quick cast 1. It can be used on anything. It is global. The only way to keep it chaining is to use witch abilities. That's all. So you could potentially recast a Soul Break with it, which it's important. Okay, so she has a 35% chance to dual cast witch abilities, and witch abilities deal 25% more damage when equipping a staff LMR. I'm now a fan. I have now become a fan. One last thing to check is the chase itself witch. It is. The chase itself is witch, so it will benefit from that 25% increased damage. I don't think the LM1 sucks. The LM1 seemed fine. It's just a regular LM1. BLK, which abilities are BLK type attacks? You definitely do want the LMR. Absolutely. But the LM1's still fine. It's just a regular BL1 or LM1. I mean, if you want, for instance, B select follow-up is BLK type, but the school itself is witch. The B select trigger after every witch ability that exploits weakness. So yes, it should if you're playing the character properly. It does the chase after exploiting elemental weakness. It doesn't necessarily have to be witch, but if you're using Matoya, you need to be using witch abilities. She does do a lot of hits. She's a pretty big chain builder. That's true. I mean, chance to dual cast witch abilities. She's going to be using 5-star witch abilities, so that's 6 hits each. That's 12 hits if she dual casts, plus 4 more because of the chase. And she's quick casting, which is, I think, reduces the cast time to 1.3. So, making it just a little... It's like a celerity cast time witch ability. I'm going to give her A. I think she vertically stacks the ways in which that she increases her damage output in a really kind of simple way. I like it. I remember correctly. No, it's not. She gets this on the second banner, that Final Fantasy 1 event, doesn't she? Oh yeah, if she had a way to grant her an element, that would be unreal. Palom is going to get the same grade that he got in Fire. He does every single element the same, which is B. Better than average, but still nothing to write home about. Yeah, I agree, Sketch. Renoa. Oof. Renoa is another person that I used to dish on a lot. But then Renoa got her ice chain, and that already made her extremely good because it's one of the best ice chains, or one of the best chains because it grants quick cast to all allies when you use it. That was probably worth S tier alone. But it gets better. Renoa's BSB2 doesn't factor into that. It's her USB. Angel Wing Cold Vortex. 10 single attacks, grants attach ice and X chosen sorceress to the character. Her chain plus her USB are just phenomenal, and you'll see that attach ice is fine. And then X mode's chosen sorceress is magic plus 30% and casts Sub-Zero Calamity after dealing damage with a black magic ability. Sub-Zero Calamity is a chase that does more hits depending on how many hones you have. It's one of those. So she will do a 6-hit chase, a very powerful 6-hit chase, if you use a fully honed Chain Blizzaga, which is exactly what you should be using. And this black magic, it is not BLK, it is black magic, so it needs to be a black magic ability. So I think it's weird that they force her to do this, because I think it would be fine because of what Renoa is in the game for her to be also witch. But anyway, the USB is one of the best USBs in the game. She also has access to a chain. It's kind of a no-brainer. she gets S. She's one of the best. She is like Ice Queen version 2.0. You usually give her Witch or Summon. Well, unfortunately, when her USB is introduced, she's going to be a... She is a Chain Blizzaga bot. But we'll take a look at her Legend Materia and Legend Spheres anyway. I know her Legend Materia aren't good. Not even her LMR is good. BLK damage 9% is good. So at least there's that. But I don't think under any circumstance I would dive Renoa. Well, 30% chance of Grunt Quick Cast 3 after using a BLK attack. Never mind. Never mind. That works really well with Renoa. Never mind. It's her LMR that stinks. And it stinks bad. It's really bad. But her dive is actually not bad at all. I was thinking that this was something else. I thought this was the iteration that she gets on her LMR. But this is actually good. All right. Well, yeah, that's an S. You know, I'm not going to do the dates thing anymore. I'll do that off stream after. Renault LM2, it's just good. It's okay. I think it works. It's pretty good with her chain. It's not like, you know, awesome. It's just fine. It makes her okay, and the fact that she has such good stuff means that you're all right with diving her. Just, you wish there was something better, but it's not. So Adia's next. Adia's the original Ice Queen, and she keeps on trucking. She has two different ways to deal the ice damage that she does. First off, like we had with Papalymo, Adia has access to Maelstrom, which is one of the scaling mage burst soul breaks, which means she hits 6 times with her command 1 on her 6 on her burst soul break. And the fact that Adia also is a darkness mage means that she also has access to Memento Mori, which is basically one of the best 4-star abilities in the game. A 50-second buff means that you cast it during the portion of the fight where you don't have buffs, and then for the entirety of the remainder of the fight, you will have that 30% magic buff, and it will be hunky-dory from then on. So that's just a very basic burst, and you know you're going to get a lot of damage out of it. So that's at least A by itself. And next up we have her USB, which unfortunately is very, very different. Very different. But that might be okay. We got 10 single attacks, magic and resistance plus 30% to the user. And, I mean, that's good because that'll stack with Memento Mori too, so Adia can self-buff really well. And grants attach ice and dual cast witch to the user. Already, we like where this is going, and dual cast witch is self-explanatory. For 15 seconds, every witch ability that she uses casts twice and uses 2 abilities instead of 1. So she automatically dual casts witch abilities, giving her an attach ice version of basically an ice soul break every turn. Abyssal Shards will be her ice ability of choice. So 8.1 times 2, 16.2. Over 12 attacks. That's pretty damn powerful. So and that's 16.2 before she gets the Yen Ice. Right, Papalymo definitely needs a USB. Here's the issue with Adia, is that her dive. It's probably this is the one I was thinking of. The Adia has the LM2 that has the magic plus 1% for each hit dealt with BLK attacks that deal ice damage up to 30%. That is just awful. That's a good question, Shooting Star. I believe I would use her USB. Yeah, I would use her USB over the BSB. And her LMR is actually a good one. 35% chance to grant quick cast 1 to the user after using an ice attack. It's definitely no dual cast, that's for sure. But it's still good because, especially with her USB, because she has no way of augmenting her cast speed other than that. And that's probably Adia's great failing, is that without her LMR, and even with her LMR, that's only a 35% chance, she is casting those dual cast witch abilities at very slow cast speed. It takes longer to cast a witch ability than it does a soul break. So... Well, I think I just countered what you're misgiving there, Strider, with the speed in which she casts these witch abilities is very slow. So, it's going to take a while to use all of these hones. Oh, Renoa has definitely surpassed Adia's queen. It's unfortunate, because Adia could have been an easy S with a good legend dive, but now I'm unsure. You could use the 4-star and the 5-star, but you're definitely not going to be running out of... And no, it wouldn't be the same. Because then when you recast the 4-star, then you're not quick casting. Yeah, unfortunately, it's not a good legend dive. Adia needed it, I think. She's A, but there's a condition. Here's my condition. If you can give Adia an external form of quick cast, like, say, Renoa's Chain Soul Break, then Adia is going to be an astounding dealer of damage using those witch abilities. But by herself, Adia is going to be A. Vivi is up next. So we went over Vivi with Magical Fire. He's a super plus mega giga S in fire, and I believe with his dual cast black magic and 50% chance to dual cast black magic on top of that, Vivi is S. Everything that he can do. Lulu's up next. Lulu's so easy. Because there's only one soul break worth looking at on Lulu. And it's very easy to describe what Lulu's USB does, and it's very good. Yeah, the FF9 banner after this Steiner VV banner is a VV Kuja Garnet banner. And yeah, that's a nice one. Anyway, Lulu's USB Abaddon Blazaja is the only thing that she does that's worth a damn. Lulu does a lot of ice damage on cast, and then gives herself a magic and resistance buff, which is important. And then attach ice and instant cast 2 to the user. So the instant cast 2 is something that I'm going to revisit a few times when it comes up. Turns that character into an amazing target for entrusting. So you can entrust to this character endlessly and get insane value out of it because they are very effective at casting soul breaks. That's what the Instacast 2 provides for them. So what Lulu can do, and to be super high damage in a very simple way, is using the Instacast 2 provided by the USB for one turn. She either uses Chain Blizzaga or the Ice Witch 5-star, because she casts instantly. That takes away the big drawback of using ice abilities. And then, if she's getting entrusted to, then she just casts her USB again at instant speed. Instantly casting with Attach Ice is an 80% increase in damage, and you just do this repeatedly, over and over again. She's a soul break machine gun, and with this relic alone, she can actually just 30-second clear Fenrir for you. I don't know if that same strategy is going to be as viable on 4-star Magicite. I would guess not. You'll probably need to add in some added benefit there, but she's an ice pew pew pew. She does require entrusting to get there, because she's slow to build gauge. Bar, meter, whatever. And then she loses a lot of value, I think, if you're unable to cast another soul break without that instacast too. So if you like Chain Blizzaga twice, after that, kind of up Schitt's Creek. I suppose you do have Attach Ice. You know, I was using this USB on Fenrir, and I did use the 4-star Witch ability as my second of the Instacast 2 charges, and it did do 20,000 damage. And she's actually effective from that point on, because I forgot about a Legend Materia. Lulu does have a 35% chance to dual cast abilities that deal ice damage. So she could potentially dual cast with that first charge on Chain Blizzaga, or dual cast with that charge on the Ice Witch ability 5-star, and with the second charge, if you want to keep that cast speed thing rolling, then you can use the 4-star Witch ability and have a chance to dual cast that. Hey, DJ Dragonflame. It's when you have a character like Renoa at S tier who's kind of got a complicated reason for being there with the, chain and USB both, and her only okay legend dive. It's so weird looking at Lulu and thinking, wow, she might be actually S tier. Just with a dual cast percent, or a dual cast chance, and a USB that she just machine guns. I don't know what do you guys think? Oh, here. This is actually relevant. All right, so this is my video of my Magicite Fenrir commentary. And Shad, who's now a frequent member of the chat, actually answered a question that Nimrod proposed during the attempt itself. We wanted to count up how much damage Lulu and Adia did in the fight, and during the Magicite attempts, Lulu does 283,346 damage in the fight, 170 being from the 3 USB casts. And Adia deals 225,721 damage in the fight, with 175 being from Command 1 alone. The other characters in Magicite deal 58,000. I suppose this probably locks her into A, but remember that I'm actually using only one Entruster in the fight. And the initial Entrust in the fight goes to Adia and not to Lulu. If I were entrusting to Lulu by herself, then she would be very, very, very far ahead. And if I was using 2 Entrusters, even further. Yes, that requires other characters, but I suppose my fandom of Lulu and her USB is because no one else has that capability, really. Hello, Shad. You're being shown now. Who else can get entrusted this hard and make this work with a USB? I suppose a lot actually. Maybe it's not that exclusive as I think it is, especially with UOSBs coming out for finishers and the ability to add quick cast and instant cast to the party. Yeah, Lightning's not as good, but she's really close, and as well as Laguna with their high quick casts. Okay, so I'm gonna toss her an A. But she's a good A. She's a damn good A. And so is Adia, for that matter. A tier for Magical Ice may just be really good, and I may have to drop Matoya. And if I drop Matoya, that means Palom is going to drop to C. She doesn't need Entrust. She does not need Entrust. We did establish that. Her dual casting ice abilities means that she doesn't mind using her USB and attach ice to just cast abilities between USB casts. Shantoto. Shantoto's a weird one. Shantoto's a lightning mage. But her USB does tri-elemental damage. And while it may give her attached lightning, it does give her X-Mode Twin Strike. The X-Mode Twin Strike is magic plus 30% and 100% chance to dual cast witch abilities consuming extra ability use, just like Adia's. So she's just going to dual cast. What's the strength of Shantoto is actually not locked to elemental, and that is her trance mode. Play rough mode. Magic plus 30% even further, and defense and resistance minus 30%. And here's what she has that Adia doesn't, is a cast speed modifier. And it's a really strong one. Cast speed times 3 is basically like having quick cast globally for everything, and for 25 seconds since it's a trance mode. I think this moves Shantoto into A tier for ice. She's easily like super S for lightning, but moves her into A for ice, which It's crazy, isn't it? Dia gets attach ice, right? Yeah, okay. So that I'm okay with that then. Well, if her lightning damage would override her ice damage, then that's fine. If her lightning's damage is so powerful that it overcomes resistance versus vulnerability, then you can use her as a lightning mage for an ice team, and that's really powerful. But that's not really going to happen most of the time. That's going to be super rare because resistance is very powerful. It halves the amount of damage you do, while having a 50% vulnerability only increases the amount of damage you do by 50%, but that's still a gigantic swing. So versus an ice vulnerable, otherwise resistant boss, which most of them are, then she's going to do more ice damage than lightning. Because that's only a 50% increase from the attached lightning. Which is not enough to overcome resistance. Shantoto... Oh my goodness, that LMR. 10% chance to dual cast witch abilities twice. That's a 10% chance to cast witch abilities twice more. Yikes. She does have Memento Mori access as well. I think A may be lowballing her. Poor Adia. What Adia could have done with a good legend dive. Yeah, that 3 times cast speed is... That's crazy. It's crazy that Shantoto is that good for both of these elements. I can't do anything other than S. It's just, she's just so powerful. Show me BLK. BLK 9%. Does it all. I wish I had, well, I guess it wouldn't have mattered that much. I think, yeah, Shantoto with her CSB, I would have very much liked to, or get her USB. I mean, off the 4th banner of the last festival. I would have bitched and moaned about having to hone witch abilities, but at the end of the day, it would have been so worth it. So worth it. Ugh, okay, Sarah. Sarah's good. Not so good right now, but becomes good. The next Final Fantasy 13 event is a Sarah and Noel themed event. Her USB, Etro Arrow. 10 single attacks, grants attach ice and X time reader and hind quick cast 1 to the user. Don't have to deep dive into this too much. This is a clone of Lightning, her sister. She gets attach ice instead of lightning. X time reader is the exact same thing except for ice abilities instead of lightning abilities. And high quick cast 1. So she gets high quick cast 1 every time she uses an ice damaging attack. So it's just really good. I mean, all she has to do is do all this, and then I suppose you could use the witch ability, right? She's a witch? Yeah, she's a witch. So you could witch her. You could chain Blizzaga her. She's just going to do a whole ton of ice damage in a very short amount of time. And even better, she has a 25% chance to dual cast with her LMR. So that's nice. Unfortunately, not a big dive. Is she, which 4 or 5? I think 5? That would stink if it was just 4. It's just 4. Oh well. So it's Chain Blizzaga. You used the 4-star witch ability before she... You did miss the Lulu bit. But Lulu ended up in A, unfortunately. High A. High A. So where do we put Sarah? Our current S tier is Vivi, Renoa, and Shantoto, which is funny because Vivi's a fire mage and Shantoto's a lightning mage. I think Sarah gains S just because the high quick cast is kind of disgusting. Allows her to really machine gun out those Chain Blizzagas. Oh yeah, her BSB is Imperial Ice. Just like Lightning. Her BSB2 is just like Lightning's BSB2. They did this on purpose, obviously. Yeah. Yeah, she just works. I wish she had the LM2, though. The LM2 that Lightning has. The start battle with haste and Instacast 3. Yeah. BLK. Good. Was Shantoto in Magical Fire? No. And what ranking did she get there? She was not. I don't think. I don't think she deserves it. No. When, yeah, when we get Fire Witch abilities, that changes. I suppose with Play Rough mode, she gets to quick cast. But what is, like, what Soul Break does she use? This is certainly not either of those. Definitely not her BSB. Super Soul Break, magic and resistance to all allies. Is this fire damage? Yeah. She could do that. We'll put her in B. Because of that Play Rough mode. Her BSB does fire damage, but... Come on. Yeah, but why would you use her BSB commands? When Chain Faraga exists and Meltdown exists. Yeah, I think Sarah, the high quick casting is just so powerful. And Assail is going to be up there too. There's no way I can take her out. Another Ice Queen. Assail USB. Magic and resistance plus 30% to the user. Grants attach ice and Ice Brand follow-up. Ice Brand follow-up. Cast Ice Brand after dealing damage with an ice attack. Which is another one of these scaling chases that can do up to 6 single attacks, depending on the triggering ability. Which means because it's just based on ice attacks and not on black magic or something like that, she can also summon, which makes sense because she's a summoner. Yeah, she's S. Which kind of goes to show how powerful Rinoa really is, because Rinoa is probably S without her chain, and that's kind of silly. And Assail also gets another, the same LM2 that Rinoa gets, which is a 35% chance, or just 30% chance to quick cast 3 after using an ice attack. Her LMR is definitely better than Rinoa's, though. 20% chance of minor in peril. I think I'd go so far as to say that since Assail doesn't have... Well, that's not true, because this can also trigger Rough River Chase, I believe. Anyway, her LM1 is maybe as good as her LMR. But. Ice damage 9%, obviously perfect for her. Which is good. Yeah, it's actually just good. That it's ice damage and not BLK, because she's a summoner, so she's going to be using SUM and BLK types. But anyway, it's a super powerful USB, and that's what you get. Mont Blanc, or Mont Blanc. B. Are we done yet? No, you're going to show up on Lightning too, aren't you? Rain. Rain. Beyond. It's a good burst, but it's just a burst. At least he does a fair amount of damage and party buffs at the same time. So that's K. I think we're going to drop Pelham to C. Which means there is not a lot of magical ice, but there is a lot of quality magical ice. Not as odd as snow being S. Rain does have a great record materia. That's true. Matoya. Oh yeah, I said that I'd probably drop her, right? Because our A tier is very, very quality. Adia and Lulu. Yeah, Matoya can't... I don't think she can spar with them. 30% increased BLK damage when you have a thrown weapon equipped. Schizophrenic. What's wrong? Come here. Come on up.